What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the box office for this weekend, specifically Jurassic World Rebirth. Now, there is a lot to talk about here. Jurassic World Rebirth had a 5-day opening of about $147 million with a 3-day opening of $92 million, which at first glance, you're going to look at this and you're going to be like, this is not very good, considering the last Jurassic World movie opened to $145 million in 3 days. This took 5 days to get to that mark. And at first you may look at this and be like, yeah, the Jurassic franchise, it's run its course, it's out of momentum, it's done. It didn't even have a 3-day opening over 100 million, which I want to point out, it did open to $92 million for the 3-day. Now, most 3-day weekends have that preview Thursday, and a film that opens to $92 million is going to easily have a $10 million plus or higher Thursday previews, which this didn't have the Thursday previews to add in, so if it did, it would have made over $100 million, so there's that to consider. But there's a much bigger problem here, and I'm going to make a really good point here that I have not seen anybody else make. I've seen a lot of talk online about this, about, oh, Jurassic World, it's done, it's done, it's done. It took 5 days to do this, to do this. I think that it did just as well as the last one, and here's why. Okay, think about this. Okay, Friday, Saturday, Sunday made $92 million. Those same people who went to go see it on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday would have seen it on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whether it had been 3-day or 5-day. It didn't matter. Those people would have shown up on Friday, Saturday, Sunday either way. However, the people on Wednesday and Thursday that decided to see the film, okay, the people who watched it on Thursday night would have seen it on the Thursday night previews. Where do you think the people who saw it on Wednesday are going to go? When do you think they're going to go see the movie? They're going to go see it on Friday because they're the diehard fans that are going to go see it early. So, with that being said, the Wednesday and Thursday numbers, those people, had Wednesday and Thursday not been available, they would have gone to see it on Friday and Saturday because those are the same people who are the diehard fans and they want to see it early anyway. So they were definitely going to show up, and the people who watched it on Friday and Saturday and Sunday were also going to show up on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday anyway, whether it was a 5-day or a 3-day. Nobody went to the Friday screening and they were like, we're going to go see it on Friday because it's available on Wednesday and Thursday. That makes no sense. So those people are going to still show up. But the people on Wednesday, had Wednesday not been available, they would have been there the first screening, they would have been there because they're the diehard fans that went to go see it first. So whether this had been a 5-day or a 3-day, it would have still opened to $140 million plus easily. Easily. So that means that, yeah, Jurassic World Rebirth technically opened to the exact same amount the last one opened to. In fact, it did about $2 million better than the last one did. So that's that. I mean, 5-day, 3-day, I've heard a lot of people talk about how the 5-day, it took it 5 days, it took it 5 days to get there. The other one did it in 3. Yeah, but it would have done the exact same thing had it been 3-day. Or 5-day. It would have done the exact same thing. I think that 5-day weekends are very overrated. I think they really are. All they do is they spread out the audience among 5 days rather than 3 days. And frankly, I think that's a bad idea because in this day and age, reasons people go to the movie theaters are for the bigger screen and for the crowd experience. So if you're spreading the crowd out over 5 days, there's less per screen, meaning that people are getting less of a theatrical experience per screen. So in the end, it really hurt Universal doing this 5-day weekend rather than 3. It also gives you bad headlines like we've seen, where people are comparing it to the last one, saying that one took 3 days, this one took 5. So it's just bad press all around, bad release date. Honestly, I think that 5-day weekends are extremely overrated, and I think that studios should honestly avoid them. I think that they'd do just as fine, just the same, had doing a 3-day than doing a 5-day. All the 5-day does is it allows people to see it on Wednesday a day earlier than they would have been able to see it on a 3-day normal weekend. That's it. Now, 4-day weekends, like Memorial Day weekend, which take advantage of Monday, they're fine, they're great, because The people who see it on Monday are seeing it because it's a holiday. They were never going to see it on its opening weekend. So because it's after the opening weekend, you cannot say that, oh, without Monday being a Memorial Day or whatever, they would have seen it on the opening weekend. You can't do it with the 4-day, but with the 5-day, you can definitely see how it's actually hurting the film's press and audience reception, how people are perceiving this franchise now because they decided to do a 5-day instead of a 3-day. It also gives people less of a theatrical experience because they're spreading the audience out over 5 days instead of doing it over 3. So let's go ahead and head over to the top 10 now for the weekend. Obviously, number 1, Jurassic World Rebirth, with $92 million on its 3-day weekend. Would have been 147, whether it was 5-day or 3-day, but whatever. At number 2, we have F1 the movie, which did $25 million, down 55%. That's a really rough drop for F1, especially considering that it was able to keep all of its IMAX screens. It lost all the other PLF screens like Dolby and Prime and 40X. But no, I don't think it lost 40X. It may have lost 40X. It may have lost 40X. I'm not sure. But it did keep IMAX, which I guess helped it. This is a movie that you definitely want to see in IMAX. And so the fact that it dropped this hard even with IMAX, it's a bit concerning for it. I doubt this movie will reach profitability because it does have a really high budget of like $200 million, meaning this thing needs to make $500 million to break even. And I believe it's at 293, almost at $300 million now. So it might get to 500. It might get a little bit over. So you might see some profitability, but I think it's going to be pretty tough for it to get there. At number 3, we have How to Train Your Dragon with $11.2 million, down 43%. That's a great hold. That film's up to $224 million in its domestic run. It is up over $500 million now worldwide. That's great. At number 4, we have Elio with $5.7 million, down 45%. That film's up to $55 million. That film is not doing well at all. It continues to drop pretty heavily each weekend. It's in its 3rd weekend now. It's losing screens. It's dropping pretty hard, so that's not good for that one. But number 5, we have 28 Years Later with $4.5 million, down 53%. That film's up to $60 million on its global run, or domestic run. At number 6, we have Megan 2.0, which made a little under $4 million this weekend, down 61% in its 2nd weekend. That film is up to $18 million domestically. That's horrible because $18 million domestically, right? And that's where it ended its 2nd weekend at. The first Megan opened with $30 million. So the first Megan almost opened to almost double what it has now. Megan 2.0 has in its 2nd weekend. That's terrible. That is horrible. And Jason Blum responded to it, and he was like, we thought we could put Megan anywhere in the summer, and change the genre, but clearly that didn't work out. And apparently Blumhouse is going through some changes right now, which I think they desperately need after that. I mean, they really haven't had a box office success in a while. And Megan 2.0 certainly isn't helping. So a change is definitely needed at Blumhouse. At number 7, we have Lilo and Stitch with $3.8 million, down 45%. That film's doing well. It's up to $408 million. And it is also up to $973 million worldwide. And so it will get, it might get to $1 billion. It's going to be really close, like really close. I don't think $1 billion is locked. I think that I think it's very likely that it will get to $1 billion, but if it doesn't, it's going to be like 995, 997, like we're talking right in there. Or if it gets to $1 billion, it's going to be like 1.004. Like it's going to be like very, very close in either direction on whether it gets to $1 billion or not. Hoping it gets to $1 billion though, because Minecraft, which we thought was going to get to $1 billion as well, ended up not getting to $1 billion, only doing 950. And so to have another film fall short of the $1 billion club at like 990 would really suck. At number 8, we have Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning with $2.7 million, down 34% in its 7th weekend. That film's up to $191 million domestically. At number 9, we have Materialists in its 4th weekend, doing $1.3 million, down 55%. And then at number 10, we have This Is Spinal Tap with $1 million. It looks like a re-release. Okay, now I'm looking at it. It's a re-release. Alright, so that is the top 10 for this weekend. Now, let's go on to next weekend. And next weekend is a big, big weekend with Superman coming out. This is huge. This movie is going to make or break DC from here on out. If this movie is not good, it's done. DC is over. James Gunn is out. It's done. All right, it's done. If this movie's great, then we could be looking at a massive, like, decade-long run here for DC. But it's literally all coming down to Superman, and the social embargo drops at midnight tonight. So tomorrow morning, we are all going to wake up and see the social reactions on what people think of Superman, and then later in the day, we're going to be getting the Rotten Tomatoes critic score of Superman, so we'll see that, and then the audience score because of the Amazon Prime screenings tomorrow as well. So tomorrow's a pretty big day for Superman and the whole DCU as a whole. This is a really hard movie to try and predict because right now the range is anywhere from 90 million to 170 million, so that's quite a big range to try and predict from. And really, I have no idea. If the reviews are bad, this thing could drop below 90. If the reviews are stellar, this thing could do 170. I mean, it completely depends on the reviews. So the number I'm about to say means absolutely nothing because I have no idea, but I'm just going to kind of take it in the middle, and I'm going to say this film opens to about $143 million. All right, I'm optimistic that it's going to do well, but at the same time, I'm not saying 170. I really don't think it can do 170. I think even with like really good reviews, I don't think it does 170. It could, but I don't think it will. I'm thinking more of that 140 range with good reviews. I hope they get good reviews. The trailers have looked pretty good so far. So we'll see tomorrow what happens. But yeah, that's my prediction for Superman. If you guys like this video, make sure you give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, comment down below what you guys think Superman will open to, and I will see you guys next time.